Listen guys, I'm kinda in the middle of experimenting with my editing styles and with the pacing of my videos, so this video is gonna be a little less hectic than my usual content. On the plus side, that is going to free me up for making longer videos, so tell me in the comments which style do you prefer, and also any constructive criticism is welcome.
I know I've got a pretty bad mic,
so I'm planning to buy one soon, but I am not sure yet which one. So that was just a quick heads up about my current situation, but now let's continue on with the content that you've all came here for. I've always had an unusual urge to bring lesser known ships of history to light. If you took a look at any of my other ship related videos, there's one thing they all have in common.
I don't talk about Titanic.
I don't talk about those extremely well-known ships like the Olympic class and their Cunard counterparts. Well, except the Aquitania, but I think she's overshadowed by literally all of them. So now, I'm jumping over to those pesky Germans to talk about a very forgotten about ship, the SS Cap Arcona. Boy, I'm gonna be butchering its name for a while.
Bruh.
You know, just by looking at it, well, I can't even begin to explain where it starts and where it ends. No, seriously, you can't tell what anything is. Is this a bow or is this the stern? Is that the forward or the aft mast? But in some twisted way, all of these questionable elements combine to make an elegant piece of work. Definitely would smash. 8 out of 10. It got its name after the cape on the island of Rügen. I bet you the tourism industry over there has taken advantage of that fact and milked it to oblivion. Ordered by the Hamburg South America line. Yes, I don't believe it either. More routes existed other than the Southampton to New York route. The former city is literally getting its ass eaten in the championship right now. She was designed by fucking someone and was built by, I'm not ready to read this name out, but here we go. Blochum and Voss Hamburg. I pissed off a lot of Germans right now, all 10 of you that are watching me. She was laid down on July 21st, 1926 and launched on 14th of May, 1927. She had 8 steam turbines which fed into 2 propellers. Now that's a sorry amount for a ship this fucking large. At least I'm free like a big boy. There was also a bunch of state-of-the-art technological installations fitted on her, including a gyro compass in 1934, but I almost fell asleep reading that, so I doubt you would care as well. Her maiden voyage was roughly half a year after that in October 1927. She was early fleet mates with the ancient Cap Polonio, which couldn't handle any more shit from anyone and fucking disintegrated like 4 years after Arcona entered service. Boy, I wish that were me. She started her career on a high note by immediately colliding with the French cargo ship Agen, or Agen, whatever. She was beached, but was managed to be refloated and towed to Hamburg for repairs. Bro came out of the gate swinging, no fucks given. She continued on with her normal career until 1940, when the greatest sequel ever dropped, and now half of Europe is under occupation. Now that's a bra moment.
Bruh.
That JC was requisitioned by the Kriegsmarine and turned into an accommodation ship in Gdansk or Gdynia or Danzig or fucking however you want to call it. She was painted a dull grey color, but that's to be expected in a war zone. Get a load of this fun fact. Do you know about that weird Nazi movie about the Titanic? Well, their stand-in for her was indeed the SS Cap Arcona. It was produced smoothly, but its first director was arrested for daring to say something about the Kriegsmarine sailors, and then after one dose of a self-destructive interrogation by fucking Joseph Goebbels, and next thing you know, this dude was fucking hanged in his cell. Moving on, she served this purpose until January 1945. So, to give some context, in 1940 through 1942, Germany was pretty much at its peak. 1945, on the other hand, saw the Third Reich return pretty much to its pre-war borders. Safe to say, the Germans were absolutely shitting themselves. This saw the creation of Operation Hannibal. The purpose of this operation was transporting roughly 25,000 soldiers and civilians from eastern Prussia to safer places in western Germany. This became an incredibly serious task because the Grand Soviet fleet laid a bunch of mines next to the German coast in the Baltic Sea. One ship that wasn't as lucky as her was the more famous Wilhelm Gustloff, whom I just had the revelation that I should make a video about. That will be pretty entertaining to watch. Comment if you want to see that video, or don't. Anyways, this was casually the biggest maritime tragedy in history after being sank by the Russian submarine S-13. And like 2 weeks later, the General von Steuben was torpedoed by the same fucking sub. Need I remind you that ships carrying civilians are forbidden to be torpedoed by international law. But as a smart man once said, the Geneva Convention is more of a checklist of things to do. The captain of the Cap Arcona couldn't stomach another journey back to Prussia, so he, unalived himself in his cabin. Jesus fucking Christ.
I ain't need to see no more shit down here.
After doing 3 trips like this, safe to say that the caparcona was in a pretty sorry state, aesthetically, but more importantly, her turbines were completely worn out, which could only be partially repaired in the open sea. Fortunately, someone in Germany still had a functioning brain during this time and sent her back to her owners as her services wouldn't be required anymore. Her next chapter involved her becoming a prison ship. The context to this decision was because Germany started relocating some of her prisoners to either Sweden or elsewhere. I couldn't tell you why. There wasn't really anywhere to go in March 1945 except fucking surrendering. As such, in the Bay of Lübeck, a flotilla consisting of yours truly and 3 more ships was formed. The Cap herself, Pathe, Deutschland, and Tirobek. Fucking flame me in the comments for these pronunciations. They aren't really all that important to her story. They're just kinda clumped in together with her. The ship called Pathe was the only one that was still functioning, so it served as a tender to send the prisoners onto the other ships. They were unceremoniously locked in the lower decks. Caparcona at one point had about 800 prisoners and refused a fresh batch of prisoners that arrived. So they shot the prisoners. I mean, this is Nazi Germany we're talking about. What were you expecting? Also, I doubt they could only fit 800 prisoners. What, did every single SS officer have 4 cabins for themselves? After a lot of political jargon occurred, all of which could be interesting, but not really the subject of this video. Read it on Wikipedia if you want to. That's basically where the extent of my researching for videos goes. I'm sorry, but Wikipedia is a completely trustworthy source of information. Its strict moderation and editorial fact-checking are always overshadowed by the idea of anyone can edit it, so it's bad. Well, no. You have to get past moderation for it to be approved. Anyways, the ships were debated to be scuttled, but that was cancelled so far. On May 3rd, the Deutschland was attacked by the Allies for some fucking reason. They probably saw a kid with a machine gun or something, but I'm pretty sure it sank later on. None of the ships though were marked with a red cross or anything like that to indicate their neutrality, so the Allies probably fought something along these lines. Score! Let's kick some Nazi ass! For the caparcona, about 800-ish of about 5,500 people managed to survive her sinking, and about half of those being the guards and SS staff. See? I told you I was right. 800 was way too small to be believable. Basically, all these ships had the same fate, except the Deutschland, where all of her prisoners were managed to be saved. She stood in that bay capsized for about 4 years until 1949, when it was finally broken up. Fun fact, a bunch of dead bodies washed up on shore for weeks after the attacks in various stages of decomposition. What? Have fun sleeping tonight. And that's basically her entire story. Built to serve her country and serve as an ambassador between Germany and the South American continent, but instead got into a collision and caught up in a big war. There are probably multiple dozens of ships that had the same fate as the caparcona, but this is just a complete mindfuck. What? I don't even understand how you can fuck up a career this poorly. Like, one could argue Olympic may have had a pretty bad career, but at least she didn't fucking die in a fiery blaze of glory whilst harboring 5,000 prisoners. But whatever, it's getting too late for me to continue writing.